in part one, we talked a little bit about getting our stickers and getting them stuck to our cardboard. Now there is another way of doing that, of course, which is just to use Elmer's glue. And this is an example of that. I've used Elmer's glue to glue this down. Now you'll notice that it does get a little bit warped. Even if you dry it flat, it can still get warped on you. But otherwise, it's not too bad. It will work. As you can see, it will work. You'll just need to keep it flat for the whole time. And there are some wrinkles because when the paper gets wet, it tends to expand a little bit. But for the most part, I think that if you want to use a thin coating of Elmer's glue, you can do it. Now let's talk about cutting these out. So first off, you want to use either a cutting board, one like this, or 2 pieces of cardboard, like that. And now you might be thinking, well, that saves your table from getting cut up. Well, there's that, but there's also keeping your knife sharp. If you are cutting them on the plastic sort of tables that we have in schools, your knife is going to get dull real fast. And speaking of knives, I use 2 types. And because I have cats, I have them so that I have the retractable ones so it can be pulled back and the cats don't impale themselves on it. And this is an X-Acto knife with replaceable number 11 blades. That's a number 11 blade. It's very sharp and very pointy. This is good for cutting out things like curvatures. So as I'm cutting around the edge of these characters, I will use this type of a knife, this very sharp knife. Now for let's put that back. Now when I'm cutting out straight lines like this, I like to use instead one of these type of knives where it's got this type of blade, this type of replaceable blade in it. A utility knife blade is what they call it. And this little bit of a coating on it helps keep it sharp. Speaking of which, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot get one of these, which is a strop block. Strop block. And a strop block is a piece of wood with a leather top and some compound, some sharpening compound is worked into the leather. And you can use these. Now in olden times, razors were not replaceable. Your razor blade that you used to shave with was not replaceable. We didn't have replaceable blades. And to shave, you would use a stropping belt and to sharpen it. Even though these are replaceables, there's no reason for you not to keep it sharp by stropping it. There's no reason not to. So you're going to take it and you're going to put it flat, and then you're going to edge it up just a little bit to where the actual cutting, the blade is touching the leather, and you're just going to pull it back to you. And that is going to sharpen your blade nice and sharp. Almost to its original sharpness, but not quite as sharp. So that's how you keep your blade sharp while you're cutting. And in between replacements, you want to keep your knife sharp as you're doing these so that you can cut them out nicely and quickly. But you don't want to break the bank on replacement blades. Same with this. We're going to lay it flat, and then we're going to come in and we're going to feel when that blade, the cutting edge, is flat against the leather, and then we're just going to sharpen it. And my experience has been that these utility knives stay sharper longer than these X-Acto knives do. So I'm going to save the X-Acto knives for cutting curves and for cutting out details like these servo holders on the inside. I might use one of these because it's a fairly small cut. And another tool that I want to use is a steel ruler. This is going to help you get, if your kids are cutting these out, okay, not a big thing for them to go fast. You probably don't want them to go fast and hurt themselves. But if you, the teacher, are cutting these out, you want to go fast. So the fastest way I figured out to cut is to take a utility knife when you're cutting a straight line and you want to cut it 3 times. First time is through the sticker in the first layer, right along the sharp edge. Second time through the corrugations. Third time through the bottom layer. Just that quick. And you can see by flipping it over, look at that. Got all the way through. And as I said, when you're cutting around these curves, you want to do pretty much the same thing. You don't want to put your knife in. Here's another thing. You don't want to put your knife in straight up and down unless you have to cut, a very tight angle. You want to use it at an angle so you get as much blade involved in the cutting as possible. And for this, again, when we're cutting around the corner, and I'm cutting to the outside of this, I'm going to cut it through the first layer, second layer. I'm not even trying to cut through the third until the third time through. And there we have a cut. Now, I can see now by looking at it, we didn't get a full cut. So I can just now come through here because I have a dotted line, and I can cut the rest of it out. And that'll happen a lot. So now, instead of boring you with cutting all these out, I'm going to skip over. Let's put this away. I like to have knives that put their blades away because I have cats. And let's get here. We have all of our things cut out. And the first thing that I like to glue together, let's turn this on. There we go. Get that heating up. You'll need a place for the drips to go. This is a particularly drippy. It's cordless. I like that, but it is rather drippy. So depending on what kind of hot glue gun you're using, you might find it drips more than others. And what I like to do, the first thing I like to do is I like to glue the doubled parts together. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want these to be cross corrugation. As you can see, the bottom layer here, corrugation is going this way, the corrugation is going that way on the top layer, so that they're crossed. Now, for this particular build, the Lucky Cat, it doesn't matter so much, but because this is lightweight. But when we get into the robots that need sturdy parts, it's going to matter. So if you're working with your students, make sure they are aware of the grain and how they're putting it together. So it's cross grain, it's a perpendicular grain. Corrugations go on perpendicular. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue together all of the pieces that are essentially double. I usually burn myself at least once when I'm doing this. So let's see how we do. I'm going to use the table as one side to keep it squared up. So that's quick and easy. Let's do another one. Again, I'm going to use this to help me keep it squared up. Oh, I've lost which way it goes. It goes like this. So these two pieces are both sitting square like this, and then I'm going to bring them together and match them up, letting that one flat side help me get them matched up correctly. So there's these two braces. Let's do the arm. So we have two arms, a back and a front. Trippy glue. Haven't burnt myself yet, so that's good. Usually by now I have. This I can't really square up, so I'm gonna do my best to get it lined up and then squish it. Part's done. The cat body itself is going to go together like this. So I'm going to use the table to help me get it squared up. Go around the edge and then go around a little bit in the center. That should be plenty. I'm going to square it up and then put it together. Nice and easy. Squish it a little bit. Do not squish the cardboard, but do squish the glue. Another piece. Now, these pieces, there's 3 of them. And as you can see, well, hopefully, oh, do we need to go to macro mode? Okay, this is my macro mode. And as you can see, oh, maybe you can see it, they are set up so that they go in opposite directions. They go perpendicular. The grain, the corrugations are perpendicular to each other. And I don't need to put a lot on this. I'm just going to do 1, 2. Use the table to help me get them squared up. 1, 2, and use the table to help me square them up. I don't need a lot on this because this is where my servo is going to go into. The body of the servo will go through that hole. This is where the servo horn, that little piece that the servo hooks to, it's made out of plastic. We'll see one of those in a minute. But there's 3 pieces, so I want them set up so that they are cross, so that the grains cross. Add some glue. And we're making sure they're going to be square with each other. Line them up. Not using tons of glue, just enough. Okay, a little bit, push on a little bit. Good. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to build the base. And the base basically goes like this. You take one of these braces, a little bit of glue on the bottom, put it at the very edge and the very front. Just like that. I have not burnt myself yet. Oh, I don't know if that counts as a burn. It was just a little bit warm. All right. Let's do this one. Make sure it's all squared up. And now there are little marks that show you where these are going to go. And what we really want is for it to be squared up with the bottom, and basically just put it as close to those little markers as you can. So let's put a little glue on it. A little bit in the center. All right. This goes flat, this goes flat, and line it up. There we go. So now our cat will stand up by itself, especially when we get some heavy stuff on here. We're going to put, let's turn this off. We're going to put some servos on here. We got a little sensor that goes in that little square there, and we are set up to do that. Now the next video we're going to be talking about servos and extension boards. We may need to cut a little bit off here. We'll see how that goes. I've had to do that with some of the other versions of this that I've made. Okay. So we are ready. We are all set up. There's only 4 pieces to put together. We are set up and ready to go ahead and talk about servos, microbits, and extensions, and how to wire these up. So that'll be in part 3. Okay, thank you for watching.